Welcome to the Mixorcist. Welcome to the Mixorcist.
Hey man, how's it going?
Good man, how you been?
Welcome to the Mixorcist, guys. I've been doing great. Been real busy. We have, I've been less horror movies, more like Equalizer style, Jack Reacher kind of action films the past couple of months.
That's fun.
So yeah, nothing a ton to report there. We've been doing a lot on Clubhouse though, so it's worth mentioning that with this release on Friday, March 19th at 12 noon, we'll be doing a like an in-person with Andrea Zanini from Acustica Audio, who's going to talk to us about this very product. So it's going to be fun. You and I are going to be there. And if you don't know Clubhouse, it's iOS only, but get yourself on there if you can. It's a chance for us to discuss. So, it's almost like a big group phone call.
Yeah.
So you won't just be listening one to many, it's one to one. You can come on and ask questions and talk and share experiences. So it should be a lot of fun. It's
audio only, so you don't have to get camera ready and all that. You don't have to.
I won't put in my glass eye.
That's right. That's right. No one can see you scream, right? I can still hear you, but
that's right.
That's going to be awesome, and I'm looking forward to that. Mm-hmm. That'll be interesting. I like this product, and it's going to be great to chat with acoustic people about what they were thinking with this thing, because it's a substantial piece of software, as we're going to see. Now for movies, I watched what was it called? It was called We Summon the Darkness, which is kind of a funny camp horror movie. It's pretty modern, pretty recent. There's a bit of like heavy metal and 80s going on with it, not over the top, but it's a really fun movie. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I had just one problem with the movie, is that there's this scene where they go into this club to watch the band, and you hear the music playing before they show the band, and then and you hear like King Diamond singing. And I'm like, oh wow, wicked, they got King Diamond. But when they zoom to the band, it's not him. They're just like playing some Merciful Fate song, right? But that's my only complaint about the whole movie. Other than that, it's pretty great. We Summon the Darkness.
Could have been worse.
Yeah.
We Summon the Darkness. Hey, listen, I also got the latest Fangoria kind of like online. I'm on their mailing list, and so they just had their Chainsaw Awards, which is like their Oscars. So we should go through the list and find, grab the winners and just do like a Netflix watch party.
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
Because you start with the best of the best, right? The ones that got like most gory. Like, where else do you get a most gory award? That just doesn't happen in regular online reviews. You get scary movies or suspense movies or whatever, but you never get most gory. So this should be, I don't know, I think it'd be fun. Go through a modern list and check out some new stuff.
But they should just give a record, like the most gallons of blood ever produced in a movie.
It's a good point. Measured in number of buckets, right? Like this one's a 17 and a half. I like it already.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to talk Sienna?
Yeah, man.
So I dig this, man. This is like, so they've been talking about it a little more openly than they're usually very hush hush with their plugins. But with this, they've been talking about it for a little while. So Sienna is almost like two parts. There's a headphone correction, and then there's listening room, mixing room, mastering room, modeling. So the idea is, let's bring the mixing world to headphones. I've been mixing on headphones for years. It doesn't bother me. And I always used to correct it by I would make a mix on an airplane, on a bus, on the GO train, on even things like Bose noise canceling headphones, which are horrible in terms of response. But you get used to what you're listening through well enough that you can go put it on the bigs later or listen to it in the car and triple check. Make sure you're not crazy. The bass doesn't disappear somewhere. And I was able to balance and rebalance and get it. So I'm comfortable listening to headphones with no tricks. So when all these different plugins came out, I kind of ignored them. But I think this is something special. What were your impressions?
Yeah, I definitely think it's something special. I guess I'm a little bit more acquainted with this kind of plugin, which of course is supposed to take your headphones and turn them into a world-class mixing facility by giving you the binaural cues and the response, the sound response that you would get sitting in a really nice studio. Acoustics has gotten into this kind of world. They have really done it up. They've done it up in style, and I think they've done it with a sonic clarity. I'm hearing
tend to agree.
A lot more clarity out of this one.
So you have your screen open. Do you want to fire it up first?
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at the three plugins that you get with the Sienna Suite. The first one would be Sienna Reference. Now, this one is mainly focused on headphone correction. So it's very simple controls. You basically get to choose from a list of headphones here, and it's got a very large list of different headphones. Companies like Adam Audio, Audi's, Audio Technica.
I mean, there's great stuff in here.
There's mine that I got now. Well, I got the M40X, but these are the ones that came before. Beats by Dr. Dre. Never know, right?
Nice. My Grados are down there. I have a pair of RS2s. They don't quite have the RS2s, but they have the RS1s last time I looked.
Yeah,
and the SR80 is not in this plugin, but it's in one of the other ones. So I feel like they're going to be expanding this list all the time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Sennheiser, probably the HD600s in there. The 600 series is in there. And the AKG, like the 700s and the Ds. And let's see what they got for AKG. Yeah, there you go. There's 700. There's tons of AKG. So there's a good chance, even if they even have the VSX in here. Whoa.
Yep.
Shots
Sneaky
fired.
buggers. Good for you. Good for you. I love Steve though. I love Steve.
Oh, yeah,
I wouldn't take anything away from him. He's awesome.
First time I saw him in person live was at an AES show, and he came out on stage to do the virtual microphones. And he came out like wearing a full-on NASA, boiler suit, doing jumping jacks and push-ups.
To be fair, for first time I met you, you were wearing a spacesuit. First time I met you.
Yeah, but that was an accident, man.
I know. I was framed, man. No, this isn't my suit.
Listen to the subtleties of the singer's voice and how we captured that perfect top end of the Sony, or the AKG, the C12. That's I think, and like the Line 6 booth was like right next door. They had some dude just like shredding through the hole, so they had to keep turning it up. It was pretty funny, but everybody took that.
Wheatley Fest.
Why talk about it?
So what I like about this is that you don't have to buy hardware. Right, you can use whatever you have at home for the most part. If you have decent headphones, it's probably in the list. The only ones I didn't see are West Tones. I like West Tones, but they're in ear, and they're in ear, and they depend on the tips. They come with a bunch of different tip types, and they're almost like equalizers. They're so different, so it'd probably be hard to model.
And here's where you get into the world of studio, and there's an empty room now. The main room, I think they have the Acustica studio. And the HOG Studios, which is a studio in Italy. Mm-hmm. And let's load up one of those. And there we go.
That's a good sounding room.
That's where they put you, right? And you get to choose between different presets. You can put your own presets up here, and of course the headphone correction is right here in this last tab.
Yep.
So that's basically you're picking your room, and some of them are like they got the Acustica, like the anechoic chambers. Let's see if I can find that. Where So they got like different speakers, different rooms, different chambers, and different headphones that you can correct with. And it definitely is a very, I'll just add right here that it's a very good idea to match your headphones as close as possible. And when we get to the third plugin, which we're just taking a quick look here, that's the Guru plugin. And the Guru plugin has a lot of different controls. Here's another one of the studios.
Interesting spaces like cars, speakers, laptops, LCD TVs, weird things. Mm-hmm. To me, this is not for mixing on, but it's more those rooms especially are for testing your mixes on regular consumer devices where most people do most of their listening.
That's right. Yeah.
So the CPACs, you see how it's cars and all different, like that's a little tiny, like a Jabra type speaker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Going through a couple of them now, and I'm seeing like just the different speakers. So there's some small
those look like Event 2020s, maybe.
Yeah.
Those look like events.
Some of them are very, I think some
do
of them
the car.
Are very small. There's one that's in an anechoic chamber. They show you where the environment is. Let's do the car. Yeah. There we go.
Check it out. That's cool, man.
So, I mean, if you look at most, top engineers, especially in the mixing process and even the mastering process, they've usually got some little tiny small system or some kind of consumer grade system, maybe with a subwoofer that they can just throw on there and just see what's this going to be like in the real world situation.
Yeah.
And this is
now if you want just the anechoic, sorry to interrupt. If you want just the anechoics, go to the next drop down, the room drop down. Not that one. So So go over to the right, like get out of there.
Oh, okay.
Get out of that menu and then go to the next drop down that says room. And so if you go
Presets.
to all the anechoics are there.
Oh, okay. I got you.
I think. Or maybe they're not.
That's an anechoic.
Do this again. Not that one. Go back. And go to config presets, which is more to the right.
Oh, it's not this menu. It's a different menu.
Yeah, can try the config presets. I'm not looking at mine here, so
okay.
Just scroll through those real quick.
Speakers only, binaural in the head.
Yeah, so these are like different. These are not like modeled rooms as much as they seem to be modeled scenarios or something where they've got I don't know, different configurations. So, but I thought all of the anechoics were there. Maybe they're not. I could be wrong about that.
Well, there's one here called Clean Stereo Feel that I really like that one. Of course, when they're modeling the rooms, they're actually taking samples, and they're not like static convolution. They're taking samples of the speakers with using the Acustica technology.
Well, why don't we play some samples? We'll play some samples, like go back to the headphone modeler and show what a couple of different curves look like, and then we'll shut the headphone correction off entirely.
Sure.
And you're just going to have to listen to the room differences.
Do you want to hear it with it on or with it off first?
Well, I want people to hear what the curves look like. So try a couple of different headphones so people can hear what it does when you select different models. That's all.
That's a good idea. Okay, so I've just got my Audio Technica on right now, so I'll play this music and I'll just start switching through different ones. Ooh.
Try the Apple earbuds.
Ooh, that's good. Really interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining it's kind of reverse, and well, it's not a static curve. They actually make a point that they've got like a whole bunch of different frequency bands that they're controlling the level of sort of independently. So it's not like a static curve per se. But I imagine if you're hearing a profile that's like really scooped, then that probably means that the headphones that they're correcting for are like, very mid-rangey.
Mid-forward.
And vice versa, if you got very scooped head, like let's try, like we know that the beats are very scooped, right? So I'm imagining that this would have some mids.
Yeah.
Yeah, here he goes. Like, hold the bass down.
Yeah.
Now compare that to say something like the AKGs, which are very, let's pick like, I don't know, like A52.
See? Tons of bass there.
Yeah. So that's where that comes in, and that's also why it may not actually be, it'll be more interesting than, like, say, helpful, depending on what headphones you have or not when listening. But let's move on to the rooms, and I'll show you just one. Let's ding up. Let's just ding up the first one, the anechoic room. And I think sometimes you do need to give it a little more output to compensate. And then you can kind of go between translation and filtering. Again, I'm not...
Which that's the Harman curve adjustment, right?
I believe that's what that is, yeah.
Yep.
And for those of you that want to know what the Harman curve adjustment is, I can help you a little bit, but not like completely. I don't claim to be an expert on it. But it was it's from the Harman company, and I don't think it's that long ago. I think it's fairly recent, like the last decade or so. And they did a whole bunch of research in rooms with different people, having them in there to see what kind of speaker response is generally preferred by people in a good room, good listening environment. And they found it was pretty flat. And then the other question was what kind of, when we're putting bass and treble controls on a piece of gear, what kind of curves do people really like? So they just kind of let this sample group have at it, and they came to these results. And they found that generally people do like the flat curves, and they did find certain bass and treble curves that people tended to prefer. And then they took that research and they extended it to headphones. So they were doing those very same kinds of experiments, but with headphones, and they were using their matched curve from their speakers as a reference. And then the other thing they would make these dummy heads with dummy ear canals, because of course, a speaker might be nice and flat, but if you put that up like right against your ear, especially if it's closed, there's a bunch of pressure, and there's like resonance in your ear canal, it's not going to be flat, right? So right. You have to compensate that in a bunch of different ways, either, by making the driver as balanced as you can, and then also by finding out where those ear resonances are and removing, compensating for that. So that's what the Harman curves are all about. I think it's Olive Welty, I believe. Just two dudes that wrote preliminary papers on that, but it is still research that's going on. And that's what I did on my summer vacation.
So when you're dialing it in, what you're dialing in is that preference, essentially, right? To neutralize or to balance rather for that preference that people have, or you go back to the way that the room and the speakers were sampled all the way to the left.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you listen to it, can you just play the sample again or play your mix again? If you go all the way to the left, you'll hear that the tops are a little less trebly bitey maybe.
Sorry, that's all the way to the right. All the way to the left.
Yeah. Here the mids are a little more mids are a little more chewy and the not so top forward.
Scoops it out a bit. And again, this boils down to that personal preference, because not everybody's got the same ear canals, not everybody's got the same distance between their ears, or the same circumference around their head and all that. So this is very much a personal plug-in where you're going to have to play with the controls and find out what works for you, your setup, your head, your ears. And, it might take a while, but eventually you find, I'm finding with this plugin after a very short time, I'm getting like these holy fuck moments where, there it is.
Yeah. And that was what I noticed too. When I first started using it, you kind of have to use it to test a mix at first, because to mix on it might be a little confusing. Some of the rooms are reverberant. Some of them have a little bit of resonance to them that you may or may not like. And the same thing with the headphone filters. So I think you start by you have to get used to it, like a new set of headphones or a new room. You really have to just kind of hear your mixes there and go, okay, what am I hearing today? Because some of them will sound very like the speakers are very far away. So what happens? The bass starts to become less personal, less intimate. It's there. You can hear it. You could still balance it if you knew what to look for, but you have to get used to that distance, especially if you mix close field or with closed back or, not like these are 7506s or whatever it is. So they're sealed, they're foam sealed, and they're not closed back, but close enough. So it's a bit of a jolt when you hear some of these rooms, I noticed. You're kind of like, what, huh?
Conversely, you use this sort of thing for a while, and you're mixing with it for a while, and then you take it off. All of a sudden, the headphones are going to sound really weird, right? Like, I want to go to the Guru section for a bit. I want to show you one of my favorite things.
Sure.
It was in the speaker profiles. And keep in mind, this is just the stuff I found like pretty quickly. I have not gone through all of these. I don't know if this is the exact one, but listen to how much bass is rolled off.
Yeah.
And you know how like some people like to mix on oratones and stuff. I don't actually have oratones, and I've been thinking about getting some because they make you focus on the mid-range. And if you can't hear the bass sound on a speaker like this, then you're probably not doing it right.
Yeah. You can hear it. It's not bassy, but you can hear it there. Like you can hear it working.
and then you take it out to the full system. Because I didn't hear the phase get all swooshy or something. That's the main complaint about some of the other kinds of like headphones plugins that have come out in the past. They're phasey, they're swooshy, they're smeary. A lot of the profiles on this are not like that at all, especially the anechoic ones, right? But let's hear something a little more full range. Let's go to one of the big, let's do this hog one.
It's a nice room. Oh, nice room.
So let's go through the controls and we will just play around a little bit. Pan left and right. Self-evident, except notice that when I have it panned all the way to the left, it's still sounding the right. You hear that?
Try switching off. Yeah, try switching the binaural now. A little bit came back in my right ear. Now it's a little more prevalent in the left.
Yeah. Right. So this is.
So that's all that means is the binaural has the crosstalk, the crosstalk. Right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
Your mother's in here with us, Karis. Would you like to leave a message? I'll see that she gets it.
So I have the same plugs as EB. Let's grab this room right here. And let's try some of these controls out and just listen to it on this rock mix here. I'm going to start with the focus control, and I want you to listen for some of the changes here. Hear the difference? As you hear more room in that one, you notice that it was really emphasizing the mid-range, but also the snare just kind of got, I found just a little bit more reverberant, for example. Let's use the room that you were using. Do you remember which one it was?
It was one of the hog rooms.
Was it this one?
Yeah.
Let's try also with the classic pan versus the front, what I call the, right in front of your face pan. This is true pan. Just goes right in front of you. And it's right when you hit that 3 o'clock that it just kind of comes in front of the nose, I find. Let's also try, what was the one that we didn't try together? Was it the width, the speaker width?
Yeah.
Let's give it a twirl. Here we go. A little bit different. The difference is a little harder to describe there, but I certainly hear what you would expect as speakers are maybe further away from you and pointed directly at your ears in front of your ears, as opposed to being further out and away and maybe pointing more towards your ear. A little bit of a stereo separation difference and tiny frequency shift as well. Worth experimenting with though and see what you like. Here's one knob I have no idea what it does. It's called the perfection knob. It does something, but I can't tell what it is.
Wow.
Hear that?
Total comb filter going on there.
Yeah.
That is cool.
I'm not really sure whether that's some sort of filter that they're applying, but here's a couple of performance tips for using the tool before we check out some of the other rooms maybe and have just pure fun with it. Notice that the defaults is you switch rooms, they don't go back to their defaults. So this may be fixed in a future release, but let's switch the room. Watch all of the controls in guru mode. They stay exactly where they were, except for the perfection switch.
Well, see, that may be intentional though, because once you've dinged it in for your ears and for your headphones,
it could be.
They may not want you to have to do that again, right?
What I recommend you do is, what I did, is take the default profile when you first open the plug and save it to preset number 5 or 1.
Right.
So that when you click it, it should reset everything. So this goes back to the factory standard, whatever. So this is at like 10 o'clock. This is straight up and down. This is at 2:30. This is at -4. This is right up the middle. When you first open the plug, save it by clicking the down arrow next to the preset. And then to recall the preset, you click the number. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So here I'm flipping through them. And anytime you want to go back to the neutral setting, you've got it stored in number 5.
I think you hurt my head real bad.
But let's just zoom through a couple of the rooms for fun, and let's try some of the funky ones too. Let's try the ones with the subs. Action there.
Nice. Mastery.
Let's take the whole plugin out. If you don't want to do that, there's like a true bypass here where you disable the room anyway. And then if they're not gain matched, you can fuss around with this. So that you can A/B them, with a volume match kind of perspective. So again, you may listen to this room and go, I couldn't mix on that. Was my first impression when I opened it too. But honestly, once you get used to the sound of this room, it becomes really easy to think about how you'd start balancing frequencies here. Let's try a couple more and then we'll move into the funky stuff. Yeah. That one's got a nice bass response.
It does. And it tightened right up in stereo, just like it does in the picture, right?
Yeah, it's neat.
Next time you start, so I'll keep my eyes closed. See if I can guess what it is. This is a small area.
Yeah, it's a car.
Oh, okay.
Let's try some audiophile rooms.
Audiophile, but kind of a home setup, but serious.
Yeah. Let's try the LCD TV. Does that not sound like a TV?
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
That's pretty awesome.
Insane, man. What else we got? Let's try some radios. I've never tried this before. Oh, boombox.
Oh, that sounds actually really quite good.
There's a couple of hi-fis which are not quite audiophile.
But it's done on an anechoic, you can see here on the graphics.
Totally. So I think those are the big ones. And of course, if you want to go, if you want to disable the room, you can disable it here. Or you can use the disable room button, and that's kind of it. So if this is too much control for you, just leave guru mode, and you're left with this one master control, which lets you apply that Harman curve, that that preferred kind of the sound that everyone leans to when they reach for controls to correct them. This is the average sound good kind of tonal shaping. And start there, and then experiment with guru mode as your tastes change and you want to try to tweak that room a little bit. But I think you could spend days just experimenting with which rooms you like.
Yeah, I think in my case, I was like, oh well, I'm a guru. I'll just jump into guru mode, and like that's maybe not where you start with this. No matter how much you think you know about this. You know what I mean? Just go to the different rooms and play with them.
Yes.
And when you get something you like, and you go, I really like that room. now I wish I could change it
Yes.
a little bit. Then you go into Guru, and there's something, of course, that you're already familiar with. So when you start to make the smaller changes, you'll notice it.
Yeah. And what I would recommend is load up these 4 or 5 presets. I recommend keeping one for just the flat, because if you don't, if you go and tweak all these and you lose the factory default settings, you got to take the plugin off and reinstantiate it to get those default settings back. So use one of the presets for that, but you could load 4 up with 4 different rooms, so you can truly A/B and cycle through a couple of favorites.
I closed my eyes. I didn't know it was a car, but I knew it was like a small. I was going to say maybe a bathroom or something like.
Yeah.
Like it sounded
Speaking
small.
of which, we should send them some samples like Killbox, Casket,
yeah, Killbox,
House of a Thousand Corpses room,
Crypt, torture chamber,
stuff like that.
bottle
that's
dungeon,
right. Crypt, buried alive,
grave pit.
Anyway, so this is Sienna, and I think the idea is to really try to give a tool that makes mixing anywhere much easier. Because as some of the big top end studios are becoming, I mean, let's face it, a lot of them are closing down, and where time to market matters, being able to do production anywhere requires tools that level the playing field in terms of the shape of the room, the neutrality of the room, and being able to get that through headphones with a tool like this, I think it's pretty important. So I think you should check it out and run through and play with it and have fun and see how you could use this as a tool to really amp up your mixing style and hopefully speed up your workflow too. So don't forget to come online on Clubhouse Friday, March 19th. It's my birthday, by the way.
Oh, happy birthday.
It's a big 5-0. It's a big 5-0, kids.
12 noon Eastern time.
You got it. Get yourself on Clubhouse. Go to the Acustica Facebook group or the Instagram, or follow the Mixorcist on Clubhouse, and you'll find us there. So we'll have the invite for you.
We're going to remind you about it repeatedly.
We are. We're coming for you.
I'm
I'm already in your room.
Surprise. I'm under your bed.
That's right. Yeah. He's calling from the upstairs phone.
Clubhouse, I guess when we release this, does that mean Clubhouse tomorrow?
Yeah, Clubhouse tomorrow.
Be there or be dead.
That's right. Dead.
Dead.
Alrighty, B. It was good. Yes. It's our theme song. You sing it well.
Yeah, man.
All right, brothers. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Everybody,
too,
thanks for listening, and thanks for being fans. Enjoy the plug. We'll talk to you next time.
Right on.